to say Crawford. If you go down the list and ask me about tactical advantages, most of them are Crawford. What Canelo has is size, and as a result, physical strength and punching power.
And a neck as wide as Broadway, for crying out loud.
Right.
The thing that I don't like about Canelo is that it's like almost every shot has to be a power shot.
It's a power shot, yes.
They both hit hard. Because and you can see the strength. You know, when I was fighting against Crawford, I didn't think Crawford was that strong, but when he kind of moved me around a little bit, he is very strong as well. So look, yeah, but why does he need to give that much away? He's pound for pound #1 in the world. Why does he have to go for fighting Canelo?
Max Kellerman and Stephen A. Smith analyze the highly anticipated matchup between Canelo Alvarez and Terence Crawford. Stephen A. predicts Crawford edges out a decision win but warns against recklessness. He recalls Gervonta Davis's caution that Crawford risks danger if he engages too much. With Canelo's natural size and power advantage, Stephen A. emphasizes Crawford's defense, speed, and ring IQ as key. Both analysts agree strategy, not raw strength, will ultimately decide the outcome.
And a neck as wide as Broadway, for crying out loud.
Right.
The thing that I don't like about Canelo is that it's like almost every shot has to be a power shot.
It's a power shot, yes.
And that's not beating Crawford. I will confess, I think Gervonta Davis's trainer, Cal, I think he said this. He said Crawford could find himself in trouble, and I'm not sure it was him, but I think it was him. He said Crawford could find himself in trouble if he decides to engage with Canelo, because Canelo is the naturally bigger, strong fighter. And I don't care that Crawford's gotten bigger, and I don't care that Crawford's going to go in there just as big as Canelo. Canelo is accustomed to fighting at the weight.
Meanwhile, Max Kellerman points out that Terence Crawford's refined skill set gives him a clear technical edge. He acknowledges Canelo Alvarez's sturdy chin and naturally larger frame, with a bigger skeleton providing strength during exchanges. However, Kellerman notes that Canelo's recent performances have shown signs of decline, lacking the sharp dominance he once displayed. This dynamic sets the stage for a compelling clash, framing the fight as Crawford's timing and precision against Canelo's durability.
Great chin, a great chin. But in terms of, if you want to go skill for skill, especially the recent version of Canelo, who's had to turn into a seek and destroy guy, who had to learn as his career went on to cut off the ring and not just follow guys around. Like Lara, Trout, Floyd, he followed those guys around. He had trouble because he's really a natural counterpuncher who wants you to come to him. But in recent years at super middleweight, he's gotten really good at cutting off the ring. Again, last fight notwithstanding. So as an overall suite of skills, recent vintage, it's been Crawford. But Canelo also is skilled and has a larger skeleton than Crawford. No matter what they weigh, Canelo's the bigger guy.
Yeah. You briefly mentioned Canelo's power, so who I would assume Canelo has.
You'd have to think, unless Crawford was on a knockout streak until he moved up to junior middleweight and then failed to stop Madrigal.
Antonio Tarver, former champion and respected boxing analyst, has voiced strong support for Terence Crawford while acknowledging the enormous challenge ahead. Tarver praises Crawford's proven success across multiple weight divisions, but insists this fight represents an entirely different level. He emphasizes that not only is it Crawford's toughest test to date, but it is also a type of challenge Canelo Alvarez himself has never truly encountered, making the matchup uniquely significant for both men.
I'm Bud counting all the way, but this is going to be the toughest fight, the best fighter Bud has ever been in the ring with. And arguably, this could be the best fighter Canelo has ever been in the ring with. We'll find out which one is which on September 13th.
Antonio, I appreciate your time. Safe travels back home.
Man, I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you, Antonio.
Timothy Bradley Jr., widely respected for his sharp boxing IQ, predicts that the opening round of Canelo Alvarez versus Terence Crawford will unfold cautiously. He expects both fighters to avoid early risks, instead focusing on studying each other's movement, timing, and possible openings. Bradley points out that Crawford is particularly patient in the opening stages of big fights, preferring to observe before setting traps. Similarly, Canelo often uses the first round to gauge distance and gradually make adjustments. Because of this shared approach, Bradley believes fans should not anticipate fireworks right away. Instead, the first round will serve as a tactical exchange of information, setting the stage for the battle ahead.
Wants to feel his punching power as well. In the beginning, it's all the position balance. Like both guys are going trying to get balance and trying to find their rhythm. Understanding their distance to where they can punch and at the same time avoid getting hit. It takes Crawford a little bit more time than I would say Canelo to get right to it. Canelo, although he is a prolific counterpuncher, fantastic counterpuncher, he tends to find his spots a lot quicker. And the indication of that is when, if you look at any of the boxers that Canelo has faced, Trout, even Danny Jacobs, even when he fought against Charlo, you just check out the first round. He usually takes off, just feels the power, cruises, see what these guys know, couple of feints, level changes, gathering information, right? Crawford does the same and similar things. So I think the first round's going to be a real, calm and cautious round by both fighters. But in the second round, Canelo's going to start applying that pressure. Pre-engagement with Crawford is a little bit more difficult than a Charlo, okay? Let me explain this. So pre-engagement is the movements before you get into that sweet spot, which is mid-range, to be able to let your hands go, right? Both guys are trying to counter each other's movement. Both guys are looking at each other's, hands, trying to anticipate what they believe is going to come next.
Amir Khan, having faced both Canelo Alvarez and Terence Crawford in the ring, offers a rare perspective on this showdown. He emphasizes that Crawford has already secured his place as an all-time great, particularly with his dominance at welterweight. However, Khan cautions that boxing has weight divisions for a reason. Stepping up against naturally larger fighters carries immense danger. In his view, Crawford did not need to assume the pressure of challenging Canelo, since his legacy is already secure. Still, Khan acknowledges the ambition behind Crawford's choice, seeing it as a bold attempt to silence critics and achieve something historic by defying weight class limitations. He frames it as a high-risk, high-reward decision. Victory would elevate Crawford's name into legendary status, but the wrong outcome could jeopardize his career. While Khan respects Crawford's elite skills, he understands the gamble involved in testing them against Canelo's size.
All the build-up, they're nothing but respectful. I just feel that, in boxing, weight divisions are made there they make him for a purpose. And I highly respect and say pound for pound, the best fighter is Crawford by far. It beats anyone. But when you start putting weight on and you go up a weight and you fight these guys like Canelo, even though Canelo might be now getting a little bit older and it might be slowing down a little bit, but he's still going to be very dangerous. That punch power, you're still going to get tagged, you're still going to get hit. You're going to have to spar heavier guys to get ready for that anyway, so you're going to be taking a lot of wear and tear anyway. You're going to have to adding a few pounds on. Does he need to put that pressure on himself? He's done what no one's ever done before. 2-time undisputed world champion. So why not just enjoy it? But obviously you want to go for that next challenge. Now for him, he wants to go for that Canelo. I would advise him not to go for that. But if he's the man and he knows how good he is himself. So I can't really say to him that do this or do that. So really,
he believes in his skills. He feels
he believes in his skill. We can't answer for him. We let him go and do it. You know what I'm saying? And we all might be wrong. He might be even stronger than Canelo. He might pack the weight on well. He might do really well in there. So look,
you want them both. Like, what are the differences between them? Obviously, it's weight.
Canelo's strong and is easily hit. Very easily hit. Very easily. Compared to when I fought against Crawford, I couldn't even hit clean.
Yeah.
So really, that's the difference. And they both hit hard because. And you can see the strength. When I was fighting against Crawford, I didn't think Crawford was that strong, but when he kind of moved me around a little bit, he is very strong as well. So look, yeah, but why does he need to give that much away? He's pound for pound #1 in the world. Why does he have to go up and fight Canelo?
Promoter Tom Lafleur views the event through the lens of business and spectacle, emphasizing its extraordinary significance. He explains that both Canelo Alvarez and Terence Crawford are global boxing icons, each commanding massive fan bases that span cultures, demographics, and nations. According to Lafleur, few modern matchups can rival this one in scale or importance. It is more than just a meeting of skills. It represents the collision of two empires. Canelo's established reign as the sport's biggest superstar against Crawford's rise as pound-for-pound king. Lafleur insists the hype is fully warranted, noting how rare it is to see fighters of this magnitude agree to meet, particularly when weight, legacy, and history-defining stakes are all on
the profile show. It's huge. It doesn't get any bigger than that. And, you know, you got to give credit to both guys. They're both very confident. They both have very passionate fan bases. You know, Callum, you know, having fought in Dublin, packed the arena out there, the 3 Arena, having fought at Madison Square Garden 3 times, fought in Boston, and then Fernando Jr., you know, from one of the biggest boxing named families, you know, in the history of boxing. He's going to bring out a huge fan base. So it's a really exciting addition to, you know, such a big show that like I said, doesn't get any bigger than that for sure.
I agree. I think that you, along with me, have seen some of these criticisms of the undercard. But really, when you look at it, I mean, we both know Callum Walsh so well. The personality and the authenticity that he brings to the sport is just so sincere. He's so real. You know, being from Ireland, coming overseas to train and dedicate his life to this craft, and his personality is so magnetic that it obviously brought someone like Dana White to be a huge supporter of him.
Dave Coldwell points to Terence Crawford's unique style, particularly his seamless stance switching and masterful footwork that allows him to control distance. He notes that Crawford's leg movement is one of his most underrated weapons, enabling him to create sharp angles, frustrate opponents, and dictate the fight's tempo. Against a relentless pressure fighter like Canelo Alvarez, Coldwell believes these traits could be decisive. If Crawford maintains mobility, avoids being pinned on the ropes, and continues dictating range, he has the tools to outmaneuver Canelo and steadily accumulate points.
From when the fight got made, I've always fancied Crawford. Just think he's different. I think there's something about him. I think if you add what Crawford's good at, his brain, he can switch, he's very good as a southpaw. His judgment of distance is fantastic, his punch picking is fantastic, he's got good legs. When you add what, and he can pop. I mean, listen, I'm not saying he's got the power to hurt Canelo, but he might have the power to surprise Canelo a little bit and just sting him and just. But when you look at what Crawford does well, and then I look at this version of Canelo, as Canelo's got on, his punch rate's gone down. His feet have never been the fastest, but he's always had good placement of feet. His feet aren't the fastest, and he loads up. And he don't really like boxing at a pace. So I kind of look at that and I think Crawford can manage his way through the fight to win it on points. I think he can manage moments, tough moments. When Canelo detonates a big shot on him, he's going to know about it because Crawford's been hurt before. When Crawford gets hit, he does get hit. That's why he's exciting. But he does get hit. So that means that Canelo could land on it. I just think that Canelo will land a bomb and Crawford knows enough to tie up, to get off at an angle, to get that distance.
Jeff Mayweather highlights weight and natural size as pivotal factors in the Canelo Alvarez versus Terence Crawford clash. He explains that Canelo has thrived at super middleweight, a division perfectly suited to his frame and style. Crawford, however, is moving up into unfamiliar territory, creating questions about how the extra weight might impact his speed, endurance, and overall durability. According to Mayweather, This shift poses a serious challenge, as Crawford must adapt to a body not naturally built for the division. Meanwhile, Canelo enjoys the comfort of competing at his ideal weight without
I mean, this is a weight class that Canelo is already, you know, owns. He owns his weight class. So, I mean, and he even went up higher. So, I mean, he's already proven what he can do and what he can take at those other weight classes. So, I mean, I don't know, but if anyone can do it, it probably would be Terence Crawford. I mean, this guy seems like he's amazing. I mean, he's, you know, I'm a big fan of Terence Crawford, but I'm a big fan of Canelo as well. You know, so I mean, it's one of those situations where somebody has to lose. So I don't know who's gonna lose, but I think that it's going to be a great fight. I think it's going to be a great fight.
A Ring magazine analyst examines Canelo Alvarez's recent performances, observing that despite his intense training and preparation, a key weakness has become apparent. In his last few outings, Canelo has struggled to consistently cut off the ring, allowing opponents to circle away and avoid his power punches. This flaw, the analyst warns, could be particularly damaging against Terence Crawford, whose movement and angles define his style. To succeed, Canelo must regain his ability to corner opponents effectively and limit their options for escape.
To have any position to critique and criticize Canelo, but one of the things that he's gotten in trouble with in the last couple of fights, not being able to cut off the ring. You know, you go to the William Skull fight and you watched him chase William Skull around and around and around that ring. And yes, William Skull was running from him. That was pretty clear to see. He was on his bike utilizing his jab, but you didn't see Canelo cut him off. You didn't see him move laterally to be able to stop a lot of that running or stop a lot of that circling around the ropes, which is his responsibility if he's going to take the front foot and look to establish himself offensively. And when I watch Canelo here, he's gotten away with this pretty much his entire career, but I watch him cross-step a lot. And you see it right there, where he goes from circling, he rolls under the right hand, and instead of moving laterally, replacing his back foot with his front foot, he L-steps and then crosses over, which instead of just moving laterally and shifting, like I said, shuffling to his right off of the L-step, off of the reset, which would allow him to be ready to go and ready to fight again, it takes him that extra beat to get back into fights.
Former champion David Haye offers a notable change in perspective on the Canelo Alvarez versus Terence Crawford matchup. At first, Haye believed Canelo's natural size and power would overwhelm Crawford, leaving little chance for the smaller man to succeed. However, after closely watching Crawford's training, work ethic, and technical precision, Haye admits he has reconsidered. What once seemed impossible now appears achievable, as he acknowledges Crawford truly has a legitimate chance of pulling
Canelo. I've been a fan of his for a long time, and likewise with Crawford. I never thought there was a version of reality where they'll both be in the ring with each other. I initially automatically assumed, because Canelo's obviously beaten, he was the light heavyweight champion of the world, undisputed super middleweight champion of the world. He's just campaigned at a much bigger weight, so a good bigger can beat a good little, usually. Until I saw them standing next to each other and they looked the same size, so I couldn't quite figure it out. I was like, okay, if they're the same size, then it's literally pound for pound. Who's pound for pound better? And that's it, they're both pound for pound fighters. A lot of people have got them 1 and 2. And I favoured Canelo starting off, but over time, I'm starting to think, once again, Crawford is one of those guys where he reminds me of kind of Andre Ward a little bit, their mindset. And he wouldn't put himself in a position if he didn't know for sure he had enough firepower to deal with someone of Canelo's stature, Canelo's history. But it's the two best fighters on the planet. Mixing it up, it's one of those dream fights, a proper trades fight. You know, that anyone who's interested in boxing wants to see two living legends going at it. Yeah, I can't believe it's actually happening. Does that make sense? Because they're so big in their own right. The fact that fight would never have happened 10 years ago, 15 years ago. It just wouldn't have happened. But now anything's possible in boxing. Anything's possible.
Jeff Horn, former world champion, issues a strong warning to Canelo Alvarez ahead of his clash with Terence Crawford. He insists that while size and strength are undeniable advantages, they alone do not guarantee victory. Horn believes Crawford's elite defensive skill set will be the key factor, enabling him to reduce damage and limit Canelo's effectiveness. Crawford's ability to anticipate punches, roll with shots, and avoid being caught flush makes him especially difficult to hurt cleanly. If Canelo cannot consistently land with precision, his natural size advantage may be far less impactful than expected. Horn stresses that Crawford's discipline on defense, combined with his sharp counterpunching, has the potential to frustrate Canelo, disrupt exchanges, and gradually tilt the fight in his favor. Adding to this perspective, a veteran fighter who has studied Crawford closely over the years offers his conviction with confidence. After analyzing Crawford's steady growth, intense preparation, and consistent performances, he admits he cannot bet against him. He highlights Crawford's mental toughness, ability to adapt, and unique capacity to rise to big occasions, qualities that separate him from most fighters. For this veteran, Crawford...
Me analyzing and watching Crawford over all these years, I just cannot bet against dude, bruh.
No, you can't.
I'm going to roll with Crawford, and shout out to Nebraska, and that's just what it is.
I'm so glad you're here, Big
I'm going to go ahead and put my bread down on Crawford, and I'm going to live with the results.
You were a DB, right?
I played wide receiver, kick return, punt return.
Oh, I thought why did I think you was a DB?
No.
Even being a wide receiver, you fit the bill of a Terence Crawford. If Terence was a football player, he more than likely would be a DB or a wide receiver.
Yeah.
How much weight did you put on leaving high school going into college?
That wraps today's video. Stay tuned for more.